Kaspars Maksimovs. Welcome to Total Barnage.
I'm very glad to be here, guys. Finally.
Yeah, we did a little recording a couple of weeks back, but unfortunately, I mean, it was a great conversation, and we'll touch upon it today. But we just found, it was just a bit rushed, and now we've got a little bit more time to go into a bit of depth about your training, your life, and kind of your pivot from what was a long focus on strength and conditioning in a more like natural, obvious sense to more movement and mobility and like a kind of more holistic training. Does that sound about right?
I guess you could call that. Yeah, I guess you could call that. Yeah. I was raised by doing bodybuilding and powerlifting and weightlifting, and then I kind of moved away from that to a bit more, if you want to call it holistic, more movement approach to the training. Yeah.
Yeah. How would you describe it? Like you got into, well, first off, let's start with like you're a personal trainer. Your affiliation with Barn Gym is, you've been working a bit here over, like when did you start? When did you start here? What's your link with Barn?
The link with Barn is me and Guy working together at Underground Gym, probably at 2019. And that's where we met Guy when he was a young fella. I think, and he's 18. I think 18 years old he was. Yeah. And we met at Underground, and then at 2020, I think it was, he kind of moved his business down to the Barn, and then I just came and see him. We did a couple of workouts together. It was a great place. And at that summer, I moved away to Ukraine for 2 years. And then when I came back from Ukraine, I was looking for places to work, and the guy was open for me to come down here. And I think that was 2022, yeah.
Right.
And I've been here ever since, doing personal training, coaching a few classes, and being part of the Barn community.
Yeah. What kind of drew you to Barn to set up? Obviously, you had the link with Guy, and we chatted about it in the episodes about gym fails. Way back, one of the first episodes, Guy talked about his underground days. He talked about his nightmare first like personal training or class session where he smacked his eye on a like tricep pull down bar. And what was, what brought you back other than, was it just the link with Guy?
Well, the link with Guy probably played a role in me kind of venturing out and seeing what else is out there. As I live maybe like a 30 minutes drive away from here on by the seaside in Hastings, this gym obviously is second to none for the location it is and for the environment around it. So for me, it was a really no-brainer to be part of it and, make sure that I can give my expertise to his members and potentially bring some of my members down here as well to enjoy training outdoors rather than in a gym environment. It is a gym, but you can't really classify it as a gym, I guess.
So different to regular gyms, isn't it? So different.
Yeah, I don't think you can. It's an interesting one. It's kind of like there is a gym here, but I don't know. You can't really do it justice until you're here.
Now, when you drive through the lane, like that first part, like as you're coming towards the gym, and if you take your windows down and just listen to the nature, it's like a meditation for me. Like I go in here, and a minute of drive towards the gym is like, oh, I'm in a different world. It's like a portal. And you're just feeling like, oh, this is where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also just as much like community as well as the environment. So I think I just feel like the community that we have here kind of matches the calm environment that surrounds it. And yeah, I think that's also...
I can tell you, Thursday's the day I'm looking forward to every week to come down here, guys.
Us too.
Not Wednesdays. You'll miss out on the hot
Wednesdays. Yeah, Wednesdays. I'm not sure why do you bring treats on a Wednesday, Charlotte?
Yeah, I'm not here. So what up? I swear.
Yeah, Charlotte brought some treats yesterday, and Kaspar missed out.
Yeah.
But, hey, Kaspar brings the good stuff. He brings you go to Hastings Bakery.
Yeah, well, shout out to Maker Baker. Yeah. Yes, love your pastries, guys.
And
I'm bringing them out all the way to Etchingham as well.
Yeah. Far and wide.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So, yeah, I guess one thing to touch upon is what do you kind of mentioned, like, with nature and the environment, what can you achieve with, let's say, coaching people down at a gym that is in the countryside, that is surrounded by a lot of greenery, that you can't achieve in, let's say, like a more commercial gym? What's the big, difference?
Whenever I train people in a gym, there's two different settings. You can train a person in a gym when the gym is quiet, and you can really connect to the person in like a, let's call it a deeper level, where you can really kind of feel that the person is present and you can give them the information you kind of want to give them in your training session. And you can train someone in a gym when the gym is super busy and you are doing your best to make sure that they don't lose their focus on the task you are kind of setting them out, right? Whenever we come here, those things disappear. Like, I know that if I'm going to be working with a client here, like, they will be so present because they got sounds of nature around them. They don't have LED lights kind of buzzing on their heads all the time, right? And they will just feel much more open. So that's the biggest difference, is that I can actually be connected to the person when I train them here, rather than being stuck in a gym environment and doing my best to maintain that connection with the person. So I think that's the biggest one here.
And how much of a difference does that make to, obviously the experience is one thing, it's a lot more calming and you're regulated, and like I say, like the presence and the connection is really important with the coach as well. From a results perspective, do you see a lot better results when almost your environment matches the type of training that you're trying to do? Or is it not like?
Well, a client really sees you 1 hour or 1.5 hours a week, twice a week, and so on. So if you can give them the information in that time and they can actually catch up on it, makes a big difference. If that hour is you trying to make sure you kind of maintain that connection and you never know that if it's going to stick to them, like, that's a completely different. So results-wise, yes, like, people come to us. 1 is for our experience, 2 is for expertise, and 3 to actually like have some sort of a sense of like, I wouldn't call it a connection. I would call it more of like reassurance of like, this person's going to guide me somewhere to kind of achieve my goal. And if we are in this environment, much more achievable. It's much more achievable. So I would say that, if you're training a person here, like, it's much better chance for you to get the results with the clients.
I think, especially with you, Kaspar, like, kind of talking about having that connection with clients, I think them being drawn to you in the first place is super important. And you've got a really, really nice, like, you've got a very relaxed demeanor, but you're also very confident and knowledgeable. Have you always kind of had that same exterior that's drawn those clients in, or were you different before? Like, with your coaching, was it always this kind of the same approach?
Confidence is a good one. Let's say with coaching, I've always been super confident with coaching. So I always think that I can give something for the client for them to feel like they will achieve their goals, right? Like, I'll be able to drive them towards their goal. Like, they tell me what they want and I'll be like, great, well, let's fucking work for it, But then if you look at it from a different perspective, right? A person, let's say, comes here and they want to be coached. Like, I will look at it, is their motivation like genuine, or is it kind of pushed up on from someone? And if it's not really their motivation, where they're coming from, like, it will be a completely different question you will ask me. Like, where's that confidence going to come from? Like, from my coaching, I will be able to kind of understand, like, is that person a coachable person and they're really coming to me to kind of achieve that goal, or it's that goal or that achievement is kind of like put on them from a different... Well, what would be the right word? From a different...
kind of influence?
Influence, yeah. And like, actually, like, it's not what the person might want, but it's something what the person might have felt like they need. Yeah. But it's not what they kind of...
I feel like that's such an important thing to
want to express with their body.
Important thing to touch upon with coaches as well and clients. I think a lot of people think, when they get a coach, it's like you take this magic pill and the results are there. But with us coaches, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And if the client's not coming here for the right reason, we've all experienced it with, a couple clients in the past where they're not really sure what they're kind of wanting from it. And it might have been an external person that's pushed them to do it. And, you can do so much with that client, but you might not end up getting those results just because they don't want it either.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you need to be completely transparent to the person, right? To kind of tell them like, this is my expertise, this is my practice, and this is what I teach. And if you want to go that road with me, great. But if your road is that, you want to get abs for summer, probably I will not guide you to there, right? I'll probably, show you how to do it, but will our training be focused on that? Probably not, right?
How do you, because it's interesting because there's what people think they want and then what they actually want
What they need.
a lot of the times. And then there's what they need as well. How do you make someone maybe understand that what they think they want isn't actually what they need or their true desire? Like, let's say they come in with a certain goal, which might be a standard focus of weight loss, or they just want to move a little bit better, but they might be, I guess they might not be kind of completely open to all of the stuff that the ways that you might coach. How do you uncover, what sort of questions do you ask them to try and find the root of their desire and their need?
I do need to remind myself on regular basis that I'm a physical practitioner, right? And that's my profession, and I want to guide them to let's make sure that your body feels comfortable and stable, and your posture stays upright. Let's say a person comes to me. Let's say we all do that, and it's completely fine. And it makes us understand that we're comfortable, right? But let's say if a person comes to me and they're like this, right? Well, obviously, I do understand that mechanically, I might give them, a little bit of chest opening. I might give them some postural work, right? I'll give them some balance work so they don't feel like they need to be slouched forward. But at the same time, there's probably some chemical things going wrong, probably some psychological things wrong. But I will not tell that to them, but I will slowly give them the advice to guide them, for them to ask the questions, maybe not to me, but to someone else, right? But I do still need to remind myself that I am mainly physical therapist or physical coach, and I want to give them as much feeling of relief from, holding specific postures as I can. So then next time they come in, they're like, oh, do you know what? Actually, I felt like this throughout the whole day sitting by my desk. I tried to stay a little bit more upright, and I tried the drills you told me, and actually, I feel much more confident, And then great. Well, then the client can go in and explore a bit further, what they need to do with their bodies,
Yeah.
Physical, chemical, and psychological.
And because you've been coaching for a really long time now, you've been in this game for a while. At the start of your coaching journey, what was your approach like with your clients compared to how it is now? Were you kind of the bog standard, oh yeah, you want to get abs? Okay, we'll do this little cut. We'll do some, kind of bodybuilding style training or hypertrophy style training. How did you kind of transition into the style of training that you do now? What kind of flipped the switch?
Yeah, I guess it will be good for me to kind of come back into a little bit of history of the background of how do I train, why I train, and what kind of lead me to where I am right now, right? Yeah. From age of 6, my parents put me into a Greco-Roman wrestling club for the sake of for the sake of me being a boy in ex-Soviet Union country, where boys do fight a lot. It's you need to know how to look after yourself, you're gonna get bullied, if you're a scrawny little kid, they put me in a place where I learned how to suplex at age of 7. And that was a superpower. I loved it. Yeah. I loved it. I was never a bully or such, but I knew that if something's gonna happen,
You had it in your locker.
Yeah.
Don't mess with me. Like at age of 7, I can do like 10 plus pull-ups. Like you
God.
don't want to do that with me. I can walk on my hands for 2 minutes and so on. Like it's all fine. Like
That's
I know
so
how to
mad.
control my body. And then kind of after the Greco-Roman times, I went into all different kind of competitive sports like football, basketball. My main one, which I've been doing ever since age of 12, is floorball. It's similar to ice hockey, but it's indoors. It's lots of changing directions of movement, you know, lots of sprinting, a lot of like high intensity interval training, if you can kind of bring it back to like gym-based environment.
Yeah.
So like that's how like I've raised myself as a kid. Like I've always done that. As a kid, I trained like 3 hours a day, every day. Weekends, we went away to, you know, to games, maybe like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours away, and you played competitive. So like I've been raised in that environment. Like if I sit still for too long, like I feel like I'm wasting away. You know, like that's the feeling.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know, but then I moved over to England, age of 17. And maybe a year before that, I found out about weight training and strength conditioning and bodybuilding. And at that age, like 15, 16, I started to do some weightlifting and like going into the gym and doing bench press and all these things. And I saw such a big change of my strength comparing to like my peers in sports that I was like, wow, that is the formula. Like if I'm going to do that and still compete, like no one's going to touch me. And in a way they didn't. Like it was great for that period of time, right? And as I moved to England, like that was my kind of outlook. It was like, well, let me deep dive into personal training, working at the gym. There I picked up strongman and I competed in a lot of local strongman competitions. Like at age of 20, I think like my deadlift, I was never big, like 75, 80 kilos. That's like my like limit. I had like a 230 kilo deadlift back then, you know, like I was bench pressing 140 kilos. Like I was never big in frame, but like I just had a lot of power, right? So I was just leaning onto that. Like, well, that's what I can do. Let me do that even better, you know? And competed in bodybuilding, won some shows. That was great. I needed to kind of decide, do I want to go into that pro category with the bodybuilding and so on? I decided not to because like that environment would kind of lead me to start taking enhancing drugs and whatnot. And like, it just didn't align with me. Like wasn't a thing. Then I thought like, well, I'm strong. I do my floorball as well. Like that's going well. Let me dive into weightlifting. And I did weightlifting for 2 years. Weightlifting for 2 years was great. Like I was bulking, I was gaining some weight, like I was becoming much stronger. I decided to go to Russia to train with all the beasts, you know, like the guys who you see on the telly, who do all the like mental lifts. Like when you look at Instagram, you know, them lifting like 200 kilos above their head, you're like, wow. You know, like if as we are, like we live in this environment, we appreciate like the strength which is behind there. Like people who don't really, like there's like, oh, someone's lifting weight, but we know like how impressive that is, right? So I was driven to like, let me go to Russia and let me train with those guys. And so I did. And then when I went to Russia, training with those guys, obviously training just ramps up so much more. Like I'm in a training camp 2 weeks, training twice a day, 5 days a week. And what happened? Like my body just did not hold on to it. And I injured my rotator cuff. I kind of strained my whole back. And I kind of carried on training without really thinking that something is wrong. Like, you know, like something is wrong with my structure. I kind of carried on going until I realized that like I'm living in pain. Like I'm training, but I'm actually like pushing through pain all the time. And it was that feeling of like, I don't really know how to listen to my body, what it's saying, but I'm trying to mask it by training through it, right? And then I would say around age 28, I started to kind of understand that what am I really chasing with trying to kind of gain more weight or gain more strength and, you know, like achieve better numbers in my lifts. And I was like, you know what? Fuck that. It's like, don't really need it. Like I can be physically healthy, fit and strong and fast and agile with different training approaches. So I started to deep dive into what else is out there, rather than the competitive, rather than the, like the maxing out and lifting more and like trying to like competitive, like, oh, you can do that. Let me see if I can beat you. Like that kind of just slowly evaporated. And that was the feeling of like just understanding that your body's giving you some signals. Can you read them? Or are you just masking them to, just to kind of like just to chase something, which is for me back then was super important. But for me at that point, like I just realized that it's not really important. I just know how to do that and I'm good at that. And that's when I'm doing it,
It's such a fascinating pivot from the strength side to focusing more on it being a bit more functional, not chasing the numbers. It's like going from it's just focusing on quantity to going more to quality, and like I say, understanding exactly what your body needs and like what you're trying to achieve from your training. I guess when we talk about like listening to your body, sometimes for someone that might have been in your spot when you were, 22, when let's say you were just training through it and your response to pain was more training, how would you...
the response was, you're a pussy, train more.
Right, really? Okay. Yeah.
So toxic.
Oh, come on. Like you're hurting. Mm-hmm. Everyone's hurting. Like, what can you do to make sure that, like you kind of like mask that pain and just, you got 6 weeks until this comp. Like you can't stop. Like you need to go. Like you got that target.
Goggins mindset. Goggins mindset, straight up.
And there's benefits to it, right? Like it gets you to a certain point.
You achieve goals. You achieve goals.
You do it. But how would you what would you give to someone that isn't aware of the listening to their own body or doesn't really know what it means? Like what's a kind of simple practice to doing it, to opening that door to actually listen to it in the right ways?
I guess getting yourself a mentor and actually, like trusting someone to lead you to a deeper goal rather than achieving something which might be momentarily goal, I guess that would be the most important one, But then you can always do a body practice kind of, to get kind of aligned in your body and like feel like, oh, how does my mind feel? How does my neck feel? How does my spine feel? How does my ankles feel? And so on, and do that every day. And then if something kind of reoccurs all the time, like kind of lets you know about, then probably you need to deal with that. Right.
Yeah. And also understanding, I guess it's also that it's not the norm to be in pain the whole time.
No, zero.
Like I feel like definitely you could feel it, right? You could feel it, and I've been through like very similar cycles that my mind is stronger than my body, and I can push through it. But it's understanding that like you shouldn't be having these aches and pains. There's a lot of
consistent. Yeah,
and there's a lot of people saying that that's just how it should feel. Like, oh, you're just gonna have aches and pains, which for a lot of training, like, is true.
Training is, yes.
Comes
like
with it.
You are putting stress on your body, right? So, and if you want to find something to change, like you need to stress that place, and that's how it kind of responds to them becoming stronger. 100%, yes. But there's difference between a pain of muscular pain and training pain and chronical pain, which you kind of start living with, and then like later on you kind of forget about it and it becomes like just subconscious of like, oh, that's how I always felt, and like I will live with that. I get that all the time.
What's the most kind of extreme example you've had of maybe someone that really is in chronic pain but is very accepting of it?
Oh, addicts.
Okay.
I've had a lot of people with addictions come to me. Damn. And they kind of like they live in this lifestyle or this mindset of like, I need to lean into more pain to feel better. And like those are, yes, I feel sorry for those people just for the simple fact that like they sometimes don't really know how to get out of that because they're so used to that sensation. And something really big needs to happen in their life for them to shift that perception of like, oh, actually, like that chemical response I'm getting, that needs to be changed. And that's a really painful one to kind of go through, because it's not physical. It's not like, it probably is emotional, like psychological, but most of it is chemical. And the chemical ones are like really hard ones to kind of shift because you become addicted. Sugar.
Yeah.
Let's call that sugar, you know, pastries.
Pastries, yeah.
Hey.
You know, we love them. We love them, yeah.
What do you mean by chemical? What does that mean compared to just an emotional pain? How would that manifest? What would the chemical pain be like?
The chemical pain is something what kind of like you don't really feel the need of or the pain signal in your body, but it's like this urge of like, I want to feel this certain way. You know, like it's this urge of like, oh, I like the high sensation and I want to keep chasing that. You know, like when you go out for a run, you get high, you get chemically kind of present, you know, you get that in,
Runner's high.
and that's a runner's high, and it's a great sensation. But you know, but some people kind of rely on other substances to get that, and then whenever you become addicted, like the simple kind of formula to that is to feel the same way, you need to get more of it, right? And that's the loop I'm kind of talking about. Yeah, that's the one. Like I think as you kind of question me, that like that's the hardest one I can see.
And you need, I assume you need like a circuit breaker, right, to get out of that loop of more and more. And do you find that focusing on the physical is a really good way to direct yourself away from that kind of chemical pain and that process of being in a loop, like focusing on listening to your body, like slowing down, like you say, a practice of just feeling how it is and making a bit more space? You know, do you find that that's a really good route to?
Yeah, I think it's a great route because our body is so responsive to whatever we do on daily basis, and if we do not move our body on daily basis, and then we kind of rely on external things to motivate us, rather than like as a baby gets motivated by reaching something and he learns new skills, kind of like, you know, to develop a new pattern of movement. If we carry on exploring different ways of moving on daily basis or challenge ourselves with different movement patterns, I think we can live a really good, healthy lifestyle.
I like that.
You like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that as well. And that's, I think, what I kind of try to bring to my practice more is like there are so many things we can do. And we think we know it all, but we really don't. Like I love people when they come to me and I see to them, you know, like their day's been going like ridiculously heavy. They've been sat by the desk all day. They've been replying to emails and, you know, they've been replying to phone calls and like people demand from them. I'm like, guys, we're in nature. Take your shoes off. Let's just roll on the grass.
Yeah,
But it's play, just a different practice, completely just taking them away from the reality they've kind of had throughout the day. Let them just be present and let's just do something so you move.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes such a shift of your day and your reality that you're like, oh, actually, I really needed that. Just not to focus on, you know, like I need to do this same pattern over and over again. I need to get good at that. But actually, I just need to feel my body and just move in a completely natural way of allowing my body to move rather than actually even me telling you what to do. Just like that's a task. Go from there to there. I'll put some distractions in your way and just get to the end. That's it. Find your own way around it.
I think those sessions definitely sort of like some of the best ones for our clients. I think, you know, the way we coach you is obviously like slightly different. Sometimes we're a bit more strict with kind of tracking stuff on the iPad, but I've also had plenty of sessions where clients have turned up, they've had a really stressful week, really stressful day, something's happened with work. I'm like, all right, put your phone to the side. We're not going to do anything on the iPad and we're just going to do some movement and just see how your body feels and do fun stuff, which like still going to challenge you. You're still going to feel like you worked out, but equally, you know, there's no pressure on tracking. We're just taking the pressure away because you've already got enough of that that's kind of pushed you to this point in the week. So I think, yeah, it's for me as a coach, I think they're the most rewarding ones. So I know for you that can be, yeah.
I think you've seen me
great
make people like do a
Crazy
lot of
stuff.
crazy,
Yeah.
weird things.
But it's
Yeah.
great. It's great. I love it. It's
Oh,
so
yeah,
good.
yeah.
And tell us about, so obviously you moved here from Latvia when you were 17. Tell us about kind of how that was for you, and with like your family as well, you know, was that a difficult thing for you to do, leaving your family? Like what kind of went down then?
I guess the biggest thing was to try to integrate. Like at that point, I felt like I needed to integrate into this culture. And the integration into this culture was such as like, let's say Latvia is a village. Latvia is such a small country. Like it's less than 2 million people now, right? It's probably as big as maybe 2/3 of England in lands, all flat. We have no mountains. The biggest hill we have. The biggest hill we have is like 300 meters, and that's it. Like just one thing, so completely flat. My town is third largest town in Latvia, and it's 60,000 people.
Oh my God.
Damn.
So Latvia's tiny.
Yeah.
So then imagine me
Classifies
coming
a big
first
village.
time, like coming into London, and I'm like, wow, so many different cultures, so many different things, you know, like everything goes. We're back in Latvia, like I knew everything about Latvian culture. We got a lot of traditions. We sing, we dance, we laugh. Like we're all like really open, you know, like there's not much judgmental, like that no one's really judging you, just do your thing. A lot of sports. I know how to compete, you know, I know how to be like super, like my leadership was like, I was always taking a team and I'll just kind of lead them here. And I came here and I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like a drop of something. I'm not really like who I was in Latvia. So then it kind of made me be like, okay, well, I got my strength. I got my athleticism. Let me push into that and let me kind of, you know, show people who I am. And like that was like a point of leaning. Like at the age of 17, 18, when I did I went to college in Hastings, and I did my level 2 fitness in like, I can't remember what it was called, but it was something to do with sports science, level 2 BTEC. I think that's what it was. I finished that, and I went into the gym at 18, and they took me on as an apprentice, and I was coaching people at 18. I was coaching like these 35, 40-year-old men, like a lot of drug dealers, I can call you that. Like, you know, all different people. You can paid in cash. You could see that they were up to no good, but they completely gave all their trust to me to push them to kind of, you know, to get bigger and stronger and so on. And I never said how old I was, because I knew if I would say to them like I'm 18, they'd be like, oh, who's this little scrawny kid? But I had a bald head then, and I was always wearing a tank top, so
Big boy.
Passes 45.
Yeah.
Stella in right hand.
Yeah, so like that transition was like I just leaned into what I'm strong at, and I tried to get into the culture in that way, through the gym, through strongman, through weightlifting. And I can tell, like, you know, the shout out to Zeus Gym, like there was this owner, Sue Kennedy, and Terry was there as well, the chef, and they kind of like took me under their you know, like their hood, and they just allowed me to express myself whichever way I wanted. And that was a good little place for me to be, I think.
I think that's so important. The environment, the culture, to be kind of like uplifting and to allow you to kind of flourish and do what you want.
Yeah, 100%.
I thought you were going to go the opposite way and say, you know, as soon as you come to the UK, you go, you know, into the city and everyone's kind of putting each other down. Or, you know, very critical.
Oh, there was that. Like, I can tell you that we had our Latvian community, and I was really bonded with them guys as well. Like, we had, I don't know, I had like maybe 10 guys, all from my town. So one of us came, and then a few more came, and we had like our community. So I was never feeling lonely or, you know, by myself and so on. But because we were like 18, 20, 25, we needed to show that, like we're here and no one's going to mess around with us. So we were a little bit up to no trouble, I can tell you that. But I think it's like, that's how we were raised. Like we needed to kind of like show our presence, as so no one kind of pushes us around and tells like, oh no, like you're foreigners, you're gonna stay in that corner and you're gonna let us do our things. So, but I had communities from both sides, and I was very blessed for that. It helped me at the beginning.
Yeah, I love that. And obviously now you've got 2 boys?
Got 2 boys, yeah.
Yeah. How, in terms of kind of like, because I know both of them do sport, right?
Oh, they're so into
Crazy.
sports, yeah.
And I remember you telling me about kind of helping them with like visualizing stuff before they run, or, do whatever. I can't remember. It was one of your boys on sports day, wasn't it? And you're doing.
He was meditating before the sport day. It made me so proud. Yes, he was there before the race, like into a lotus position, eyes closed, and you can see him trying to look up somewhere, like visualizing the way he's gonna run. And he smashed it. He won it. I was so happy. He was like, "Well, there we go." Yeah,
exactly. And I was gonna say, like, with kind of the practices that you do, are they quite interested in that as well, like in that kind of side of it, or did you kind of like drill it into them, or was it just something that kind of naturally fell?
I think obviously they see me do things, and kids are like sponges. Whatever you do, they will kind of do as well, right? And I do see them like playing around. I've had like phases of doing dance things. I had phases of doing a lot of mobility. I've had phases of doing martial arts and whatnot, and they kind of copy you, which is like really nice. But I do give them all different questions, and I really want to understand, like, do they think for themselves, or do they expect me to think for them to kind of make decisions? And if I feel like they're leaning on me helping them, I'll help them. But I really try to kind of navigate them to like, give me what you feel like you want to do, rather than me making you a sportsman, like I think you could become. Yeah. And I do not take that, mindset out, but I do want them to be something more than just sportsmen, right? And they have that mindset of they want to be sportsmen. Yeah. But I know that there's much more behind that. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's such a fantastic thing just to like cultivate that curiosity and to cultivate like independence of thinking. It's probably something that's lacking now with AI, ChatGPT. People have gone full kind of like trying to get answers without thinking. I can't even imagine like just, you're trying to get answers from something, but it's not going to allow you to have that like exploration. Again, you kind of talk about like at the start, it's more of a exploring the movement, but then it's also exploring like yourself and what really makes you click. I had a similar one with my dad. Used to, whenever we'd ask him a question, like where is something in the house, or a question that he thought we could, is worth us working out for ourselves, he would always like give us 40 seconds to figure it out. And more often than not, it would take about 5 or 10 seconds. And all you need is just like that tiny bit of pause to not always rely on someone else for, information all the time. And yeah, I mean, in the same way that you've said, like if they need the answer or the advice, then you'd
give it to
them.
Of course it's there. Yeah,
You're not going to just leave like on their own completely.
No.
But
you need to remind yourself they're still children.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They can't make decisions for themselves. That's why we are called parents, and we parent them for them to become adults. Yeah. But we don't want to make it all comfortable for them. We don't want to give cushions all around their world and be like, oh, the world is perfect, and it's all just like pink and green and blue and so on. No, world is harsh, and you need to understand that there's all these spectrums of emotions, and they need to live them. Like they need to understand them, right? I can't just be like, oh no, oh, what? Be careful, don't fall there. Like if you're reckless, fall there. I hope that you understand why you fell, so you don't do that again. So you can't keep them safe all the time. You need them to experience the world and life in their own way, right? Because they will live their life.
100%.
Yeah, and does it seem to evolve your like parenting style? Does it seem to evolve alongside what you're learning in your own training and coaching as well? Like in the sense that as you learn more, like you go through different cycles of learning things in your coaching, a different like philosophy, let's say, moving from more very physically capable and standing up for yourself, then through to more of a, listening to your body, movement, let's say more of a hard to a soft.
I think
approach.
I get it. Yeah. Yes. I think the question for that is I try to meet people where they are. Right? I try to meet people where they are, because even for you guys, like you have your experience of training and, being coached by, like all different coaches and so on. And you will not coach your clients the way your coach coaches you, because you have so much knowledge and, like you need the completely different coaching than, let's say, I don't know, like, Darren, who comes in first time,
Say Darren, that's so weird. It's gonna go down there.
Who comes in and he's never been trained before. Like you will talk to him in a different way. You will give him different drills. You will give him the awareness of like, oh, actually, Darren, like these are like normal movement patterns you kind of need to learn. And well, let's learn how to walk first. I have a lot of clients who I need to teach how to walk.
What do they get wrong? What's the main things that you see that, because we all walk.
Yeah, we all walk, yes.
Right. It's like the same thing as like we all breathe.
Exactly. Well, that's an even bigger one, yes. A lot of times I need to teach people or give them the awareness of how they breathe. Rather than teach them how to breathe, I give them the awareness of how they breathe, so then they can be a bit more mindful of, oh, actually, maybe that's what's causing me stress in my life. Like I don't really breathe, but I just do this.
Shoulders up.
Yeah. So,
with the walking.
How do you walk? Yes.
Yeah,
well, obviously, like if you look at a person and if you see their head wobble around when they walk, like you kind of are aware that okay, maybe they don't have like great enough structure into their neck, right? Like they maybe don't have like their vestibular system is not like kind of calibrated to be aware to where they are in space. That's one. Let's see if a person kind of goes left and right as they walk, right? Like you're like, oh, you probably don't have hips and you don't really use your hips when you walk. You're just leaning onto your back to kind of use your back as your hips. You see a person doing this, which I see a lot of the time when they turn their legs like this and duck walk. And I'm like, oh shit, you don't really have anything to do with your legs. You're just shifting your kind of limbs up and down. So then we just sit down and be like, okay, let me kind of break this down to you. And let me actually teach you how you can do the best exercise there is, walking, a bit more efficient. And that goes a long way sometimes. Because as I think from science, like the best exercise is a slow state cardio for any health there is. And imagine if a person is walking and they don't feel safe in their body, they're under tension all the time and they're actually walking. Like, not that it's going to cause them problems, but they don't really get the benefits of how if they would do it with ease, It's
so fascinating because it's such a, even those sort of things are so, they're not even overlooked. They're just not even looked at.
Yeah.
It's not even something that's on the radar, like walking. Like I didn't think today we'd be talking about, how to walk. It's not even on, it's not.
I have sometimes it's so funny when I just take on a client and I'll be like, he's like, oh yeah, like, I lift 160 kilo deadlift, I bench press this and that. I was like, great. Well, let's go up the hill and let's see how long you can last until your back starts hurting. And then I'm like, oh, well, you're probably just kind of spilling out so much energy by trying to just compensate through your low back all the time that actually you're not really giving any benefit to yourself by doing that particular training, but you're actually just putting more tax on your system, which then just requires you to rest more to recover so then you can do it again. Where if we're going to fix that, your lifting is going to become better and you'll just feel so much more in tune with your body, And like, it takes a bit for someone who has been conditioned to do this one specific training style for 10 years to then be like, actually, like, let me shift that. Because it's hard because you think that you kind of like, you're great at that. But to change that up, like sometimes it kind of need to kind of kill your ego, I guess. Like that's the right thing, right? To be like, oh, actually, like what I was doing, it's not that it was bad, but it was harming my system more than it was actually giving good to my system, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest realization with the ego, is that if you don't even know it, but you could think, if you have like that realization of, oh, I've been walking like this, I've been doing this thing that's been making it worse for so long, you almost have that kind of that frustration, even though you can't do anything about it, and you didn't really have the knowledge, like that, and especially something so simple, you have that frustration of like, well, I've been doing this for years, like why didn't it happen sooner? Like why didn't I learn it, sooner?
Most of the times it's people realize that when something bad happens. That's some people, most of the things, right? Like most of the things, like it just gives us that little bit of clarity. Oh, actually, like I'm in pieces now, or, like something's going wrong. Well, I need to change it, And it was like that was my story. Like when I did my weightlifting, like I thought that I'm going so great. Like everything was going up, lifts were going up, everything was going the right way until something just went, and that pain is just like constantly was there, like I know where it is, like subconsciously it's still there, like the awareness of like my shoulder not being as stable, but it's more stable than the other one now. It's just like that thought is back there all the time. But I wouldn't change if something like that wouldn't happen, like I would probably carry on, until something else would happen. I'm grateful that that was my sign, and I listened to it.
It's so fascinating, because I share similar experience, and I find it so interesting. I'm trying to work this out, and I'm looking for the answer, which probably isn't there, which is that, like, do you need to get to that level of bad? We talked about it with Mark Cowlard in the previous episode, one of the gym members here, and he got to a point where he just wasn't happy with how he looked, and he wasn't happy with his lifestyle, and that's that catalyst for change. Is there anything that we can do to make sure we don't get that bad before we change? Like do we need to get to a certain level of pain? Is it necessary?
I really hope that not. I really hope that not. But I think we just need to kind of keep the narrative of what like a healthy body is, how you feel in a healthy body, and how you maintain health in your body. I think that would be a starting point. Where we look in, let's say we look at the social media, and the first thing for us to kind of see someone being, like ripped and sipping like coconut water in Bali, like we think that that's health, like that's a narrative we've been kind of fed with, it's not really. I think a healthy person, in my perspective, is a person who has a great community around them, number one, who demands plenty from their body on daily basis without the feeling of like, oh, I feel fucked after that and I need go on a vacation to feel better, right? And then a person who understands or knows like where their nutrition comes from. That could be probably one. And then spend more time in nature. That'll be another one, because nature balances everything out.
Yeah.
Does that give you something?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was thinking, how much, and for someone that might be quite a lot, what would be a base level, let's say a base level understanding of nutrition, or something, if you don't have a really great community, like what's something that someone can do regardless of their circumstance to just enter into that kind of view, changing the narrative of what a healthy body and a healthy life is?
3 tips.
3 tips.
3 tips you'd give to someone.
I would say number 1, as I said at the beginning, think of a role model of yours, or a guru, if you want to call, and actually question them, or if you can, or understand why they're doing it and understand their motivation behind it. It's like, I would say social media influencers' main motivation is making money and becoming famous. That is definitely a person you don't really want to look up to, because they're doing it probably for the wrong reasons, right? Like my role model as a kid was Bruce Lee, and I thought that I'm going to be like him when I grow up. I'm not sure if I'm there, but I'm still young. I'm still young, exactly. That would be number one. Number two is try to stay away from the middle aisles in supermarkets as much as you can, because we don't need to put any more chemicals in our body. Like the lives we live are already like full of chemicals as they are. Let's try to stay away from that. If you can have natural, if you can grow your own foods, like that would be the best thing ever, because then you can put your hands in your soil and it's great for your nervous system. You can nurture your food. You can sing your food lullabies if you want, and you know that you're giving yourself good vibrations. You know, and that could be another one. Just knowing where your food comes from.
That whole food approach.
Actually knowing where your food comes from, yes, and understanding of how much food you need. Not to use food as a fuel to kind of like have a lot, but actually use the food for its own purpose, right? To actually just recover your body rather than store. Like we eat too much when we are stressed, and then we just, this is from such an old, like, 1,000, 10,000, 50,000 years ago, when we just didn't have enough food and we just ate as much as we could because we didn't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't live in a world like that. Like food's every day you're gonna have food, so you don't need to eat that much. Just eat as much as you need. That'll be another one. And three is learn a body practice you can do every day, and do it every day in the morning, like unconditionally, like every day, like without an excuse. And you'll live a healthy life, I think.
What's your favorite body practice at the moment?
My favorite body practice probably is to wake up and give myself a big stretch like a cat.
Yeah.
And I love my cars, as you know, guys. So a lot of controlled articular rotations is the big one. To kind of make your joints lubricated every day. That's the one.
Yeah, I love that.
How long do you do that for?
Well, when you become good at it, like I have this one client. His name is Bill. I've been training him for more than 10 years, 5 days a week. He goes through cars every morning and we do it together. So it takes us 5 minutes.
Legend.
Yeah.
And that is capital CAR.
See, controlled articular rotations. Yes.
And I mean, you could probably go onto YouTube.
You can go on YouTube and you can go through the routine with someone who's going to give you some good tips of how to perform them. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember us doing it in the summer, and it's so new to me. That sort of mobility side of things.
Yeah, I think that's one part of all the training. Like it's great, but I don't think that it's like I don't think that's for like everyone every day, throughout their whole life. There's so much more, right? We haven't even talked about, let's say, fascia and so on. Like that's like completely different topic, right? Like there's like your body's fascia kind of holds everything together, and like if you can move your body in like all different ways, like it's probably as beneficial as cars or even more, But cars is a great entry level to understand how your body moves, I think. To kind of give yourself the awareness of like how much joint space I have in between every joint.
So true, so true.
Talk to us about fascia briefly then. It's a popular word especially on a lot of algorithms that I'll see. If you give a brief overview of what you kind of alluded to, what fascia is and what is its importance in movement and training.
Yeah, I think I'm not a great expert of it. Like fascia, I think I've trained like by understanding fascia for a long period of time, but I've never been coached by it. Anatomy Trains was one of the first books I read when I was like 17, 18. And it's all like through the body meridians, like how your body kind of structurizes it, not in bones, like not in skeletal system, but actually through like meridian lines. And I was like greatly like impressed of like, oh, actually like everything is like spiral in your body, right? Even your heart is not a heart, is a spiral just kind of like wrapped around itself. Like when you dissect heart, you unwrap it. It's like this long lever which actually just goes into one. So like everything in our body is spiral. Like in fascia terms, like fascia connects your entire body. It's like a web of tissues, and all those tissues are full of liquids, you know, and those liquids are kind of like a gateway of your nervous system to send information through quickly. And if your fascia is tight, which a lot of people like refer to like knots in your body, like that part of your body has a limitation of the fluids moving in and out. So if you untighten that fascia, then your body kind of gets better signals to like what's actually happening in your body or your vessel, you want to call it, right? So fascia for me is a big one, and I'm deep diving into it like as we speak. I've spoken to a lot of people about it, and I would say that fascia, like I'll give you a big statement, I think fascia is one of our big brains, which actually gives us most of our movement. The brain is the end center for our nervous system, but fascia is actually the one which like holds everything together, which kind of determines of how well you're going to move.
And would you need to train differently to optimize or keep in mind, you know, the role of fascia, or is it something that comes just as a
we have like our
of normal, like regular, let's say focusing on, you know, strength training or movement? Is there anything you need to do different?
I think if we train in a linear manner, when we think of this and anything to do in like 2 dimensions, we tighten our fascia in specific ways, yes. And if you do that repetitively, on and on and on and on, like your body remembers that those are the patterns which you kind of favor, and then you tighten your fascia 100%. So more of a way of, let's say, running, moving, lifting, crawling, you name it, you know, like moving in different spirals, even breathing like 3-dimensionally and expansively is a big one for fascia. So if you can do that, it will benefit you. But if you train in 2 dimensions, yes, you will tighten your fascia in certain angles, and it will be detrimental for your body in the long term. I haven't seen too many people who live a life of a bodybuilder or a weightlifter or a gym goer later on in life being able to sprint well. Let's call it that. Have you seen, like a really good one was, have you seen the podcast where Andrew Huberman did the running with the running coach?
Yeah.
And did you understand his running gait? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it was really
like he doesn't know how to run.
Yeah.
But he trains all the time, and he's this guru of fitness. And like, is it really giving him benefits to his body, or is he limiting him to like being a good gym goer or so on, you know? So like that's a kind of a...
Yeah, the human one's funny. We
funny.
always reference Chris Bumstead. He's making that pivot.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so it's more, you know, is it enough to say, would I be oversimplifying it by saying that if you can train in all 3 kind of planes of movement, if you were to just focus on training in the 3 different planes?
For athletes, yes.
Yeah.
For a general person, they first need to learn how to walk properly. Let's leave it to that. Yeah, for the ground up. Yeah, because look, we've been sitting now probably for an hour or so, right? Like I say to most of my clients, like, you've been sitting for 30 minutes, you get up and you do something, you know, just walk, strenuous exercise, just to make sure that your body doesn't become too comfortable in this position, right? I think people sit like that for 6-8 hours a day. And then we as coaches expect them to come to the gym and then do like strenuous lifting. Like their bodies are just molded to this. So like they will probably be restricted in some sort of movement. So there's no point for us to kind of give them too much load, because tomorrow they'll go to work and they'll just sit back into this.
Yeah, I can feel my fascia getting tight now. It's very common with clients that work at desk jobs. You get them and they come in and they've got pronated shoulders. You can just see by their hand on the side. Their hands are around the front. They're supposed to be down by side. And they're always standing like that, super tight around the chest. Their T-spine is really tight. They can't kind of do a proper
just extension.
The other arms lifting if they're on the floor. And it's important that they...
No, but as you said, it's great if we can give people more movement, more movement, yes. Allow them to explore what they can and what they can't, and just give them the awareness of, do I want my T-spine to do that or not, Yeah.
And give them stuff that they can do outside of the gym as well.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Because, as we said, they come and see us for 1 hour a day, right? Maybe sometimes twice a week. It's great. But then are we just taking them in and taking their money and making them feel good for the hour? Or actually are we kind of giving them tools and teaching them how to live a healthier lifestyle? Yeah. And if we are, then they will take it home and then they will repeat the drills and things, by themselves as well.
Those are the clients that get the best results, the ones that put in the extra work outside, they don't just come. It's with anything, you kind of go for an MOT, even if people are getting kind of body work done, and you get getting myofascial release, but you've got to do stuff to kind of maintain that, because you can't just
100%,
do that, once a year and think, okay, cool, I'm going to be absolutely fine. You need to do the other kind of mobility routines and stuff just to support your joints and stop you from getting tight,
crunched up. Yeah.
And I feel like it's only going to get worse with the kind of jobs, or maybe it's going to get better. I don't know if
AI takes over the computer
AI
stuff.
People might get a little bit more movie.
We just need to remind people that they are in charge of their bodies. It's not us, it's them. And they need to maintain, what they have and build on what they can have rather than lose it all.
Fall in love
don't
with the
use
process.
it. If what they say is you don't use it, you lose it. That's the way.
Exactly.
That's the phrase.
So true.
And does this apply equally through all generations? Would you say, like you say, it's a lifestyle? Is there anything that different age groups should be moving differently? Anything that they should be prioritizing, or is it keep it super simple?
Oh well, it depends on what age you can probably pick up sport on. It would be great if the government would decide to actually teach parents how to teach their children to move. It would be amazing. I think we would alleviate a lot of problems what we have right now, because let's say a new parent kind of has they're raising a child and they don't really know the expectation of how can I make my child more engaged in playing with me, let's say a toddler even rolling around, or or reaching to things, or squatting down and playing in a squat position. If we don't teach that to the child, later on in life, you will see that by their bone structure kind of molding to having this, right? But then younger people, obviously they're much more resilient because their hormones are working over time. I remember myself as 21-year-old, I really didn't need sleep for a week and I could carry on doing what I needed to do, It was completely different than now. I can say that I probably are much more sensitive to having a good night's sleep. I can go with not sleeping, but I can't do that for 2 days in a row. Let's call that, With you on that. So probably yes, it is important. In age brackets, and women and men is completely different as well. Probably you've seen that with your clients, right, Charlotte? Women will not want too much of upper body work dominant. They will much rather have different areas.
I don't want to get bulky.
Exactly that. How do you? I
don't want to look like a man.
What's your response on that?
I say you're not going to look bulky.
Good luck,
Deborah. So trust me, it takes a long time.
Imagine, right? Yeah. Just to teach a woman that to build muscle. Yeah. If it only would be that easy, right?
Yeah. So trust me, if only it was that easy. And I do stress the importance that you should do some upper body work, because you do need to have a stronger upper as well. You need stuff to be balanced, because a lot of issues kind of with posture and stuff can come from having weak points in your upper body. And if you're old as well, when you get older, if you have a fall, you need to be strong all over to help yourself get back up again. So it is important to have that. But I always say, I promise I'm not going to turn you into a bodybuilder. and it also will take a long time to get to that point anyway. So, yeah.
And if it does happen super quick, then bloody congratulations.
Yeah, your genetics are
That's it.
fantastic.
Well, then,
Give
yeah.
some of them to me.
We need to check in them and see what the secret formula is.
Yeah, exactly.
You might sell that.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us how you did it.
Liquid gold. Liquid gold.
Make serious money out of it.
Yeah.
Well, Kaspar, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love the fresh perspective, and it's the reminder of like the simple things.
Exactly.
And questioning, like having agency, questioning the things that we put into our body, what we consume, how we move, and all the rest of it.
Well, look, guys, the lovely weather is coming, and then hopefully we're going to have much more outdoor sessions down at Barn Gym. So,
well, we're going to move this podcast outside at some point, and then we're going to have comfier chairs.
that's it.
That's what we're going for.
Deck
That's the next
chairs.
upgrade.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Where can people kind of find you? I know you're on, active on Instagram. If they want to get in touch with more your style of training, personal training, and then what have you got in the future?
Well, I am here throughout the week at Barn Gym. You can always find me here if you look for me. You can probably find me somewhere in nature if you're explorative. But no, I guess like Instagram will be the best one. I think it's called Maksimovs Workouts. Got a website. It's called Maksimovs Workouts, and yeah, I think those are the main ones. I do work in Hastings, and I got a couple of gyms down there. And as I said, when the summer is just by the corner, like you will see me doing a lot of outdoor stuff. So you can probably join some of our classes.
Yeah. And if you are a Barn Gym member, he's got his business cards here, so you can always pinch one from the window.
There we go. Yeah.
There you go.
Fantastic. Kaspar, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.